1, 2, 3, 4. Away from holding hands with you, I know these habits hurt important parts of you. Remember when I was sweet and unexplainable? Nothing like this person unlovable. I just want back in just want back in your head. I'm not unfaithful, but I stray. When I get a little scared, when I get a little scared, when I get a little scared, when I get a little run, run, run. Just want back in your head. I just want back in your head. I'm not unfaithful, but I stray. I'm not unfaithful, but I stray. I'm not unfaithful, but I stray. I'm not unfaithful, but I stray.
89.3 The Current. That is Tegan and Sarah live here in our studio, back in your head. And we love the record so much at The Current that we do want to French the con. We really do, because that...
We want to make out with our record.
We kind of do. You guys are in town to play at the Pantages Theater, which is a gorgeous theater and a perfect backdrop for you guys. Has your heartbroken nerd quotient gone down as far as the audience members that you can tell?
I mean, I don't really know. Like, I've been looking out at the audience a lot more. Like, we had this... I had, like, an epiphany a couple of nights ago, because you try to get out on stage and, like, put on a rock show. People are there to, like, see lights and whatever. But, like, as hard as we try to be that band, it just doesn't feel like the right band for us. Like, so, like, lately I've been telling our lighting director, I'm like, light the audience more. Light me more. Like, I want to look at their little faces when I'm talking to them and whatever. And I just like to, like, look out at people. And I love our audience. Like, for the most part, I mean, there's always, like, a couple of jerks that you're just like, why are you here?
How did you get here?
How? What track in life did you get on that made you end up here? But for the most part, I think that there's, like, a really big majority of the audience that is, like, I think they like us. I think that we could be friends. Sometimes I have these weird fantasies that, like, if I moved to the city that we're in, these people would actually come to my Christmas party, holiday party. I mean holiday, not to discriminate against those who do not celebrate Christmas. But I definitely love our audience, and I think that we're nerds, and so they must be nerds too.
And I suppose it depends on the venue that you guys are playing in. Certainly, I mean, if you're playing more of a bar situation, do you then, after the show, are you the person that walks around and wants to chat it up, or are you like, I'm going to the bus?
Well, we're sort of trapped because we have sort of a reputation for. I mean, it was only on this record that we stopped selling our own merchandise after the shows, so we sort of have a reputation for being the kind of band that goes out and meets everybody. So, which we obviously cannot do any longer because it's just there's too many people. It would take days to get out of there, but we do end up, always signing and hanging out by the bus because they're in between the bus and the venue. So to get on the bus,
right.
we have one of two options. We can get inside of a suitcase or a bag and be snuck onto the bus, or we can shake hands and take pictures with everybody. And generally, I'm fairly claustrophobic. So and we enjoy it. I mean, every night I do the whole it's so cold, I don't want to go out there. But then I look out at them and they're all waiting for hours, and I'm like, okay.
And it's genuine, like you said. There might be 2 or 3 just, but the rest of it, it's pretty genuine.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you guys are making a record, in the process of it, and do you go through do you demo all the songs?
We definitely demo. We started demoing really extensively 2 albums ago. The album that we put out, If It Was You, was the first time that we asked our record label if they would help us buy a computer and like a Pro Tools rig and everything like that. And Tegan and I sort of like blindly wandered into that universe of like trying to like press record and tape ourselves. And that was like really profound for me, like to be able to like write like without just like when you're writing a song and you're just like sitting there playing it, it's very difficult to sort of be the listener. It's
sure.
Like you're very much the performer or the writer. But to be able to like record yourself and listen back is sort of like this fundamental part now in writing songs. So Tegan and I, obviously then on the next record, it got a little bit more detailed, I guess. Like, like we started actually sending files back and forth to one another. Tegan would send me a song and I might say like, oh, let's add some vocals or some guitars. It was still really hard though, because even though we had these demos, when we get into the studio, there was no time to dissect them and
really?
Be like, no. Oh, we did this part and this part and this part, so let's reproduce it. We were just like on such a timeline that it was like, we still were just using the demos to give direction to the band, but not necessarily to map out how the song was going to end up sounding. Which actually totally happened on this record.
Yeah,
we were like, okay, because now it was like not just vocals and guitars. It was like Tegan and I were laying down like 35 to 40 tracks of like drums and bass and keyboards and vocals and guitars. And when we sent initially 17 songs to Christopher Walla, who co-produced the record with us, and he was like, this is how the record should sound. And he's like, obviously we're going to go into a studio and we're going to re-record a lot of this, but this is what it should sound like. You should play these parts. Don't let other people play this stuff. Tegan and I can like come up with the melodies, and we may not play them like as as perfectly as say someone that actually has, like intense skill.
Like Ted.
Like Ted,
for example. Hi Ted, how are you? By the way, good to see you.
But he's like very skilled. You can give him like a run of notes to play, and he potentially is going to play it better than we can. But there's something about the emotion that's attached to those notes that Chris really wanted Tegan and I to cross over onto the record. So the demoing process I think it's the most important part for us, because it's really like where the organic ideas sort of pop out, and then they're recorded forever, and then you have them as a blueprint for when you get into the studio.
Do either of you guys read music?
Yes.
You both. Well, you play piano, right?
Yeah, we took like 8 years of classical piano. So, but I never have used any skills from that. From those 8 years in my writing of songs ever. Like when we went into the studio for 5 weeks after we made the record to get ready to go out on the road. And Ted and Sarah and I sat together first, and then the rest of the band came in. So we had a couple weeks where we were just deciding who was going to play what, and it was really kind of exciting because a lot of we've been joking because a lot of what Ted's playing is stuff that we wrote, and a lot of what we're playing on keyboards is what he wrote, and so it's like I'm outside of my comfort zone, and it's really exciting to try different things out, and his parts are so different than anything I would have written. But in order to remember them, I had to write them down.
Okay.
I had to chart them, as they say in the music world, and it was unbelievable. I was so embarrassed. Doris would have been so sad, my piano teacher, watching me scrawl out the notes to these songs.
I still have to go.
What notes are these? Like F.
Every
C
good
sharp.
boy does fine.
That's what I have to do. Like I would have to be like F-A-C-E. Okay, this is E.
And I'm not sure I don't know how quickly my brain was. I think it was just the process of writing it out that was helping me remember. But it was pretty sad and pathetic. And I had this stack of papers and all these music charts, like with all the notes to all the different songs I was going to be playing, and it was pretty embarrassing.
Has anyone ever named their record "Every Good Boy Does Fine"?
I'm sure.
Okay,
I'm sure.
Let's get another song. What do you guys want to do?
We're gonna play another song off of our new record, and this one's called "Dark Comes Soon." Dark, no, you can't come soon enough for me. Saved from another day of misery. everything I love. Get back from me now, everyone I love. I need you now. Don't get a million miles from me, safe. Now another day can pass by me. Everything I love, get back from me now. Everyone I love, I need you now. So what a lie, I lied to me too. So what a lie, I lied to me too. So what? Oh, out from the ones who know will love you. Out from the ones who know will love you. You too. Right. I am to the edge and barely there. So make my move, I'm almost there. Everything I say to me first. Everything I do to me first. So what a lie, I lied to me too. So what a lie, I lied to me too. Oh, out from the ones who know will love you. Out from the ones who know will love you. You too. Dark, oh no, you can't come soon enough for me.
89 through the current, Tegan and Sarah and Ted in the studio. Awesome. They're playing tonight at the Pantages Theater. And when did you guys tour with Rufus Wainwright?
God, that was like, I was just talking about this. I think it was like almost 7 years now.
Holy
ago.
cow. Okay.
Yeah, like a long time ago.
What was that like?
It was interesting. We were talking about this the other day because, like, I was talking about tours that made me really sad and miserable, and that happened to be one of them. And I don't think it was Rufus specifically. I think it was just the time in our lives. We were talking about all the different vehicles that we've traveled in. That's
Sure.
how the conversation came up. And that tour was a tour that we did. It was an American tour, a U.S. tour. Rufus was on a bus, and we were following him in a car. We didn't even have, like, a van. We were, like, that poor at the time, like, and the label was like, there's only two of you. And then we took a guy with us to help drive or whatever, and we did it in a car. And I remember getting to LA. We had already been on the tour a couple of weeks, and I remember getting to LA and sitting in the offices of the little record label that we were signed to, and hysterically crying. We had this photo shoot that we'd done before the tour, and the president of the label, his name is Elliot, and he's Neil Young's manager. He's been Neil Young's manager for like 30 years, and he's sort of who got me and Tegan started in the industry. And I remember he's got this strong, thick New York accent. He's old school. He's like very, very old school guy. And I remember him looking at the photos and going, I hate these. You look like rugby players. And we were like crying, like hysterically crying. And we were like, oh God, like 'cause we felt we failed him. And we were on this horrible tour. And I remember Tegan or one of us being like, we're in the car and there's not even room for the guitars. They're in the back seat and help us. And he was like, what do you need? You need money. What do you need? And like trying to make us stop crying because I think we were traumatizing him. So that all happened on the Rufus Wainwright tour. So don't have fantastic memories of it.
I'm almost surprised that Rufus wouldn't have, stepped up and said, get on the bus.
well, now that I've experienced being the headliner, I realize that, like, we have a band that's been out on tour with us since September, and I mean, they're in a van, and I have no sympathy whatsoever. Like, I'm like, see y'all in 25 hours, and have fun driving, you know, like, because I think
but it's different. I mean, you know, they're in a very comfortable, really nice vehicle, and there's 5 of them, and they're all adults, and, that's, you know, like, I mean, children. We spent the first 3 years traveling in the States without cell phones or credit cards or a crew or driver's licenses. You know, it was very difficult, and we had to make ends meet a lot, and in very difficult ways, but, you know, we do lots of really, like, I mean, I think as the headliners, we learned a lot from the bands we've opened for, like Neil Young and Rufus Wainwright and Ryan Adams and The Killers and Hot Hot Heat and Ben Folds. I mean, we've done a zillion tours, and everyone's always been really gracious, and we've learned a lot. And now, you know, like the band that's opening for us, we give them our hotel rooms every night because we do have the bus, so we leave. And so, you know, like, we're helping them when we can. We're just about to tour. We give them Nutri-Grain bars and, like, all of our leftovers. I mean, good. We're trying to help as much as we can. Because in the past, there have been tours where it feels like we are, like, losing our minds. And the Rufus Wainwright tour was one of those because, you know, we were in a car and we fired our tour manager halfway through. He was a friend of ours, and that was really depressing. And one of our guitars on a flight broke, like the neck snapped, and you know, so we had to get, you know, replacement guitars in, and like I was at my wit's end, I tell you. I mean, I spent 90% of my time crying in the back of the car being like, somebody please make this stop.
But Rufus is very talented, and it was nice to see the show.
Yeah.
What's on this tour been for you, or not even on this tour, just in the last year? What has been one of the more sort of surreal situations you found yourself in?
I think just the fact that we've been on an indie label now for almost 9 years, and we had to, after we finished the con, it was kind of depressing actually. We handed the record in, and then Sanctuary announced that they were ceasing operations in the US, so it was basically like we all of a sudden lost our record deal, which we were ecstatic about initially because we were like, yes, we can sign a new deal, except they owned the rights to the record, and so we had to find a new home for our whole catalog, and there was a hefty price tag on our heads basically, so we had to re-sign a new record deal almost immediately after finishing the con, and that was pretty surreal because we hadn't negotiated a deal in a long time, and things have really changed. The industry is panicking. There's a lot of, you know, what they call 360 deals happening now, where labels want to take a piece of everything an artist makes, and you know, that makes sense when you're a baby band and you're spending lots of money and not making any, but we've been touring for 10 years and our income comes from touring and not from record sales. So it was pretty surreal just to be like out there negotiating and meeting with labels and seeing really what the state of the industry had become. And we were just so passionate about this new record. We just had put everything, invested everything into it, and we wrote this like very heartfelt, passionate, sad letter to the presidents of all these companies that were negotiating on our behalf for, you know, our music, and basically said, you know, we've been signed since we were 18 years old, like give us a chance here. Like we were looking forward to, like, you know, having an opportunity to spend, now we've got to rush and we've got to sign a new record deal. And we were amazed because everybody came to the table and said, all right, fly down to LA and we'll do something fair. And we got this really amazing fair deal where we actually have a chance of making money for the first time ever. And we have this really great team of people around us all of a sudden. So
there's a lot of flexibility that we were offered, which I think we feel really blessed and privileged, because I know a lot of bands, and it's like, you know, the record industry isn't always the flexible industry, and you know, to be offered an opportunity to have a flexible deal that's short term, we felt so excited about it.
So that was pretty surreal for us.
I'm so happy that you guys could come in here. I want to also thank engineer Tom Mudge and producer Derek Stevens, and you guys are going to do the title track.
We are. Yeah. We're going to break out the con right now.
I listened in, yes, I'm guilty of this, you should know this. I broke down and wrote you back before you had a chance to forgotten. I am moving past this giving notice. I have to go, yes, I know the feeling, know you're leaving. Calm down, I'm calling you to say I capsized, staring on the edge of say. Calm down, I'm calling back to say I'm home now, coming around, coming around. Nobody likes to, but I really like to cry. Nobody likes me, maybe if I could. Spell out your name and list of reasons, faint of heart, don't call me back. I imagine you and I was listening, not insistent. I followed suit and laid laid out on my back. Imagine that. A million hours left to think of you and think of that.